Hey, FlimsyLunchTray here, and welcome to World of Warships in random battles on the islands of ice in domination mode. Today, I'm going to be featuring the Tier 10 Pan American, the San Martin. This ship has had an slightly interesting history even before she came into the game, and that is when Wargaming first introduced this ship into the game. It seemed like the ship had a bit of an identity crisis. They didn't really seem to know what they were doing with the line. Originally, you had both armor piercing and high explosive, and then they removed the high explosive, so now you only have this 152 millimeter AP. And basically, when people were looking at the ship line, it seemed to be a mix between something like the Worcester, and which we just featured this past week, and the Minotaur. Kind of combination of those two, but that she's more based off of a Worcester. So the WoW's wiki reads, this is a design ship, it never existed. After World War II, Argentine leaders planned on ordering the construction of new cruisers in the UK or the USA. The main requirement was for the main guns to be dual purpose, meaning for AA and enemy target ships. The most suitable ships to these parameters at that time were cruisers of the Worcester class that designers would have been guided by if such ships had ever been ordered. One such ship could have been the San Martin, the ship which we're showcasing you today. So when I play the San Martin, she feels much more similar to Worcester than she does Minotaur. And here we're going to get some nice AP shell hits on this Genon, already up to 6 citadels, as we just bided our time for him to pull out broadside like he did. So in typical light cruiser fashion, which is what the San Martin is, we are going to be playing around this island for the first bit. And it's a similar playstyle to Worcester, right? So one of the things that's definitely different is it's harder to deal with bow-end targets with these 6-inch guns, where with Worcester, you could just you have your high explosive, or you just utilize having the inertia fuse high explosive shells, which you don't get that luxury here. So like Minotaur to an extent, you're really looking for those broadside targets, as targets where you're easily going to be able to lob shells into the superstructure, so on and so forth. So she plays best around the islands, can play out in the open if need be, but I don't think that's where San Martin's strength is best as compared to Worcester, just given that example. So what is different so much about this line that Wargaming is introduced in the game compared to the American light cruisers or compared to the British light cruisers? Well, one is, as you're just hearing, is that they decided to add gimmick buttons, and here you're seeing the aiming bug having issues. This was the same night I had that Worcester game that I featured on Monday, I believe it was. So basically, if it's a bug, if you zoom out in the midst of while you're sequential firing in that, then your guns are going to do some weird and odd things. But here we're firing as a whole, so we're not having whole salvos, so not as big of an issue. But they added, Wargaming decided to add a gimmick button to the line, being the combat capability, consumable operational readiness. This combat instruction, which provides a significant reduction to consumable reload time, can be activated after repeatedly hitting enemy ships with main battery shells. So basically, as you see on the screen, is that progress bar. It's a semicircle, half a circle, where we're about to get it up to green. Right now it's yellow, and as soon as we top it off, it will be green. So we did it just in time. And it can only be used after hitting enemy ships with any main battery hits. This is the requirements. Required hits per salvo, 1. Progress per action, 3%. Effects, consumable preparation, reload time, -85%. Action time, 30 seconds. So here we've caught the Shimakaze, whom I do not envy, getting cut out like this. he probably was trying to get over here because we had been playing around the islands and probably wants to try to dislodge us, I'm going to assume, as we also have an enemy sub up on the 1-2 line. But going broadside with these guns means you're going to get some pretty massive hits. You know, our radar is already down now. We'll talk about that. And Shimikaze is taken out by the Baji. But you can see that your radar consumable time, I'll actually look it up here on the screen to make sure I have it correct. I think I have, oh, what is that, November Foxtrot. Your cooldown time is 136.8 seconds. In other words, you're seeing here, it was almost like 3 minutes. And I'm trying to do the math in my head. That's if I took November Foxtrot combat signal. I'm not sure if I took it in this battle or not. But that's a really long time. Similarly, you know, if you're looking at your repair party, it is also 136.8 second cooldown time if you take November Foxtrot. If you don't take November Foxtrot on either of those, it's 144 seconds for both the surveillance radar and the ship repair party. So that is quite a lengthy time in that regard. Now, we do take out the Thrasher, so that's great, get rid of the sub. Another reason why we didn't really feel comfortable pushing up behind the island until we get rid of the submarine, as, you know, cruisers and battleships and destroyers don't really like getting shotgunned in this game. So we're going to put some fire on the Pommern, and then we're going to see the Sherman. So Sherman's not too much of a threat. He only has 4 torpedoes, right? But he has really good DPM. And we've been biding our time. So the Genon just went down over here on the flank. There's some muscle behind the Pommern up on the 2-3 line. I think there's a Goliath. And there's 2 other enemy battleships up there as well. Izumo and Montana, so we don't feel so confident pushing out yet until we eliminate more of the threats, and we just did. At the same time, or the Kremlin took out the Palmer, excuse me, Sherman decides to pop up. He's going for Holland, so we're going to get some nice broadside salvos here on the Sherman, and unfortunately we're going to eat one of the 2 Sherman torpedoes, so he's probably feeling pretty happy that he got a torpedo landed on us, but I'm not sure. It's been 5 days since I played this battle. We either fat fingered the F key in activating the combat capability, the consumable operational readiness, to reduce the reload time of our consumables, or I did it on purpose and forgot what exactly it was it did. So I'm not entirely sure, but you can see right now heals at 18 seconds, and when this goes away, minute 46. So it did cool that down. The correct play would have been to press the F key after the heal was done if I really wanted to get the next heal back off cooldown that much quicker. So I don't really know what I was doing there, so either I accidentally fat fingered that or I did it on purpose and kind of forgot how to best use that. So you want to wait to press that F key or whatever key that you have that consumable operational readiness tied to after your consumables have gone down have been used, right? And then you're going to reduce that consumable reload time drastically. So just make sure that you understand that key and don't mess up like I did here, okay? Yes, I'm a good player in World of Warships, but I mess up at times, and it's good to like go over that and case that with you guys and point out when I do make mistakes, because I do make mistakes. One of the things I wondered about was the AA capability of the San Martin. I was like, well, it's you know, kind of presented as even the Wales Wiki kind of compares it to, you know, the Worcester, which is what it's kind of based off of, but also it compares it to the Minotaur, right? And you also have Brisbane in the game. So is it the AA that good? That's your top 3 ships for AA strength. Is number 1 is Brisbane, number 2 Minotaur, number 3 Worcester. San Martin is number 12. So the Yodo actually does something better than the San Martin. So it feels quite good about itself. let me just go over some of the pros and cons that the WoW's Wiki has off here, as we're going to be focusing this Montana, and this is an example of utilizing the island to our advantage and pushing up here. Pros: good HP for a light cruiser, significantly improved AP penetration angles, destroyer dispersion with comfortable ballistics, strong torpedoes, which you see we currently have in the water in mind of that Montana, so I'm hoping he turns out a bit more. And you do have the ability to stealth torpedo, yeah. Decent AA defenses with long range. I mean, they're okay. Very stealthy ship. Specialized repair teams consumable that can repair 80% of all penetration and citadel damage taken. I think originally it was only 50%, so they buffed that when they took away the HE. Surveillance radar consumable, combat instructions that reduces consumable cooldown. Now, cons are the limited armor protection. We'll look at that tomorrow in the upgrade commander build. No high explosive shells, which sucks, but as said in the game, you get these really nice AP penetration angles, and so we take the Montana down there. Normal AP fuse time and arming threshold, a shorter main battery range, only 5 torpedoes per side, so they get 10 in total. Average speed and agility, short hydroacoustic search range, which is 3 kilometers, and a very long consumable cooldown time. So I'm talking a little bit more about that ship. So what is the max concealment? Well, you get max concealment to sea down to 9.12, excuse me. Air is 6.9, and your AA range is also 6.9, which is quite nice. Your torpedoes are 10.5 kilometer torpedoes, maximum damage of 17,500, reload time of 106 seconds, assuming you don't build into them. Other notable things to make mention of the ship is that you get your airstrike, right? So you get not ship-based, but air-based depth charge airstrike that has a range of 8 kilometers. So we were able to use that relatively well against the Thrasher as we killed him with flooding. So that's nice. Other things to make note of, I'm just checking some of the other things here. I probably should talk about the reload time. So we've got a reload build. So we have a with Adrenaline Rush not activated, it's a 5.28 second reload time when we have taken the main battery modification 3 in the 6th slot, with the range being 15.51 kilometers. So the game's winding up here, so we're just going to keep kiting out on this Goliath. Assuming we land these 6-inch AP shells into the superstructure decent, we should get some nice pins and overpins. Of course, with some of that really good belt armor the Goliath has, we're going to get some bounces in there as well. But we're just going to keep distracting as it's him and just the last submarine. So that's going to bring us just up to over 130,000 damage and drawing this game to a close. Now, in total, do I really like the San Martin? Yeah, but I think for myself, I more drift to playing Minotaur or the Worcester first in that regard. But I think the ship's pretty good. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's okay. I think it's better than okay. So 132,000 damage, 263 shell hits, 3 destroyed. We took our time, right? Taking our time, we let ships get whittled down on our flank, but we contributed killing the sub, destroyer, and a battleship. 6 citadels, so the Jinan was hurting, so light cruisers beware these 6-inch AP guns. Going over to the team score, we're going to top the team with 2,635 experience. Shimakaze and some other people who did quite good on our team. With one sub dying really early, despite having a base XP buff. Damage received, 28,000. Potential damage, almost 500,000. You know, you can see we actually get some fires damage. I don't know if that was against the sub with some of the depth charges or if that was secondaries, which I don't actually remember if this ship gets secondaries. Let me check that. I don't think you do. Yeah, unless I'm blind, I'm not seeing it. So I'm pretty sure this ship does not have secondaries, which that would make sense for me. So it probably was a fire started from our depth charges on the sub. And you're wondering, how do you start fire on the sub? Well, it's an internal fire in the submarine for electrical damage, and so on and so forth. But we do get the Confederate out of the game, so we were contributing and helping our team overall on this flank. But with a light cruiser playstyle, you just gotta take your time in the first half of the battle, let things wind down, and then you saw that we were able to make ourselves more aggressive in the last half of the battle. This is pretty much a light cruiser playstyle. You really want to play for that last half of the game, when there can be a lot of big decisions coming down to the wire, like the Worcester game. I'll just go ahead and throw that at the end of this one that we had on Monday. But this is the San Martin, and I think it's a pretty good ship here in World of Warships. So let me know your thoughts on this ship. Tomorrow we'll do an upgrading commander build video here on the San Martin. I'll go over the armor scheme, upgrades, consumables, and the commander skills most definitely. So if you liked today's video, give a thumbs up. If you didn't, give a thumbs down. Subscribe if you do want to see more. If you're subscribed, thanks so much. I appreciate it, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.